what's up everyone, TJ here. Today we're gonna be talking about the Jones Stratos snowboard. I'm gonna go through all the tech and specs and I'll share my thoughts on how it felt out on the mountain as well. Let's get right into it. All right, so the Jones Stratos is gonna be an all-mountain freeride focused board on the Jones lineup, but it's also freestyle and powder friendly. It's a really interesting board and it does have an overall directional shape with a taper. So we're talking longer nose than tail outside the contact points, as well as a 10mm taper, so that tail is a little bit narrower than the nose, as well as a setback. This board's gonna have a 2cm setback, shifting those insert packs just a little bit closer to the tail as well. This board runs a camber dominant profile, pretty much full positive camber, but you are gonna get a little bit of rocker release as you start to approach the contact points in both the nose and the tail. But overall, you're gonna get that camber feel out of this board, that more precise, energetic, locked in feeling that you find in camber boards. There's a bunch of tech loaded into this board as well, so let's run through that real quick. First off, it's got Jones Traction Tech 3.0. So that's gonna be added contact points throughout the side cut, one in between your feet and one placed under each foot as well. They're pretty mellow, but if you do find yourself on some more firm or icy snow when you're out there exploring, it is noticeable. It's gonna help the board bite down a little bit better and give you a little bit more confidence and trust in the board if you're going over ice. It also features Jones Contour 3.0 profiling. So that's basically like a spooned out nose and tail. And the 3.0 variation is the most prominent version. There's gonna be 7mm of spoon in the nose and tail, which has a few benefits. On hard pack, I feel like it gives you a nice, quick, smooth edge to edge transition. And it's also gonna help out giving you a little bit of a more efficient glide in powder. Other than that, you're gonna find some basalt stringers in this snowboard, and they run right from the bottom of the insert pack straight out to the contact points. You can actually see that just looking at the top sheet, and that's just gonna help the board be a little bit more responsive from edge to edge, helping transfer that energy directly from your foot right out to the contact points where you get most of your control. It also runs a sintered base, which is known to be a harder, faster, more durable base material. And I rode this board straight out of the wrapper, felt really good out there. It comes with a nice factory tune as well. Has a great glide to it, and as long as you're waxing the board regularly, that should maintain throughout the life of the board. I started off the day out at Keystone with one of my favorite hikes, trying to find some powder or some soft snow to get this board into. And honestly, I did find a little bit of soft snow, but it was more variable. And the Stratos did really well. You know, it's got all those directional features that I mentioned earlier, the setback stance, the taper, the directional shape. And it felt really good out there in the conditions I found. I definitely would not shy away taking this board out on a powder day. And if you did find yourself on like a really deep bottomless day, one of the coolest features on the Stratos is the float pack that Jones put in there. So you can really slam the bindings all the way back towards the tail. And not only is that gonna help keep you floating, allowing you to ride powder in a more neutral position, but it really shortens up the tail quite a bit. So it's gonna be way more maneuverable swiveling through that deeper snow. Not as much as the Storm Wolf behind me that has a swallowtail, but it's pretty sick, and I think definitely adds some nice versatility to this board for the really deep days. As far as the flex goes, I'd say the Stratos is a little bit on the stiffer side of medium. It's got some good stability to it. For reference, I weigh around 150 pounds and I rode this in a 156. And it's also a directional flex. So the tail is gonna have a little bit more stability and a little bit more power and start to get a little bit more playful up through the nose, especially outside the contact points on the nose. That stiffer flex profile is gonna come through in a variety of situations, but one of the biggest highlights for me on the Stratos was actually for carving. This board is a lot of fun out there on the groomers and definitely likes to go fast. I felt really comfortable, really confident, just bombing hills, getting this board up to speed. You're not gonna get a bunch of chatter out of it once you get it up to speed. That nose and tail stay pretty locked in. And I was having a lot of fun just trying to find those surfy lines, looking for side hits, carving up onto banks, just doing a bunch of different styles of turns and carves wherever I could find a good spot for it. I think for that more exploratory all mountain style of riding, the Stratos is an awesome choice, and it powers through that variable snow pretty well also. It's gonna help you stay in control and power through that. And like I mentioned, I think this board is actually pretty freestyle friendly as well. Not necessarily the best park board, but if you're out there looking for natural features, trying to launch off side hits and rollers and things like that, this board is really gonna be a lot of fun for that. And another big standout for me on the Stratos is actually how much pop you can get out of it. You can really load up tension well in the tail and get some nice energy back out of it doing ollies, but also gonna come through with some good stability on landings as well. And while I don't necessarily think this is the best board for park focused riding, I actually took it through A51 and hit the XL jump line, and this board killed it. I think if you're looking to send it off some proper jumps, this board's gonna be totally fine. Maybe be a little bit cautious for switch landings if you're trying to spin on the jumps. The setback and the taper does give it a little bit of a different feel for switch landings or for carving switch. It kind of feels like it throws you into a little bit of a tighter turn riding switch. Totally manageable, but something to keep in mind, and definitely a little bit of a disadvantage compared to like a true twin for park riding. It's not a super buttery board either. It's actually pretty difficult to get flex out of the tail and on the nose, but you can definitely still butter it if you're trying to swivel around on the nose. That spoon contour shape definitely helps and makes it a little bit less catchy, but I think the main advantage for that is gonna be in powder. Overall, I think the Stratos is gonna be a better choice for you more experienced riders. It does have a pretty aggressive feel to it, but it'd be an awesome board for a daily driver for those of you looking to do exploring, you know, something you could take out in any conditions and have fun with, charging down groomers, carving, dipping into the trees, trying to find powder stashes. Really anything the mountain throws at you, I think the Stratos is gonna handle it pretty well. So if that sounds like your style of riding, the Stratos is definitely gonna be a great choice. It's a nice high-end board from Jones. Very responsive, very powerful, and a lot of fun out there. So if you guys wanna read a little bit more about it, I'm gonna have this board linked down in the description below. If you got any questions for me, drop it down in the comments. Let me know if you've had a chance to ride this board, if you feel like I left anything out. And if you got some value out of this video, please make sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel for more snowboard videos, guys. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in a new one soon. Later, guys.